Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today's video is on how language shapes your perception of time. As usual, I have a scientific paper here you can read if you would like to learn more about this and go into the details a little bit more. However, there's many different scientific articles about this. So let's jump right into the Whorfian time warp. Imagine trying to explain time without using the word time. You can't point to it, you can't hold it, you only experience it through change. Yet human civilization behaves as if time is a physical substance flowing through an invisible hourglass. Seconds, minutes, hours. Deadlines, schedules, aging. But what if this entire experience is partly a linguistic hallucination? What if language itself bends consciousness into perceiving duration as linear? And what if the brain's liquid-like architecture through liquid-liquid phase separation, or LLPS, as I've spoke about in previous videos, physically stabilizes this illusion into the structures of subjective reality? The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis proposes something radical. Language doesn't just describe reality, it shapes the reality you can perceive. Different cultures encode time differently. Some languages place the future ahead of you, others place it behind you. Some cultures describe time horizontally, others vertically. And this changes cognition itself. Your brain is not simply observing duration, it is compressing reality into symbolic containers, like an hourglass. The hourglass is one of humanity's deepest metaphors because it converts invisible change into visible flow. But nature doesn't actually contain hours. Physics contains oscillations, thermodynamics contains entropy, biology contains state transitions, like liquid-liquid phase separation. The hour is a cognitive phase state, a stable information droplet formed through repeated symbolic reinforcement. And this is where liquid-liquid phase separation becomes important. Inside cells, liquid-liquid phase separation allows biomolecules to separate into dynamic liquid compartments without membranes. These droplets can dissolve, reorganize, and reform, like thoughts, like memories, like identity itself. The brain may use liquid-liquid phase separation to stabilize patterns of perception across time, not by storing static information, but by maintaining fluid relational states. Consciousness becomes less like a computer hard drive and more like a continuously reforming liquid crystal. Now think about what language does. Words repeatedly activate the same neural configurations. Over years, these symbolic loops become stabilized attractor states. You are literally trained to perceive reality through linguistic phase locking. Language compresses the infinite fluidity of experience into repeatable symbolic droplets: past, present, future. And once these symbolic compartments stabilize, consciousness experiences motion through them as time. The hourglass is not merely a metaphor, it reflects how cognition discretizes continuity into measurable information packets. Now add fractals into the equation. Fractals are self-similar structures repeating across scale. Branches resemble trees, rivers resemble veins, galaxy resembles neurons. And cognition appears fractal too. Moments contain smaller moments, thoughts contain sub-thoughts, memories recursively reference other memories. Your perception of duration may emerge from recursive compression across scales. Seconds become minutes, minutes become years, years become identities, like nested hourglasses inside larger hourglasses. Civilization exploits this recursive structure, calendars, clocks, productivity systems. Modern society fragments consciousness into increasingly compressed temporal units, notifications, deadlines, metrics. The result is temporal atomization. Your awareness becomes trapped in artificial symbolic recursion. You stop inhabiting reality directly and instead inhabit the language-generated model of duration. The brain evolved in rhythmic biological cycles, circadian oscillations, seasonal transitions, breathing, heartbeats. Natural time is cyclic and fluid, but industrial civilization imposed mechanical linearity. Now consciousness is forced into rigid temporal lattices, and liquid-liquid phase separation are highly sensitive to stress. Under chronic cognitive pressure, biological phase states stabilize. Attention fragments, identity fragments, meaning fragments. You feel this as anxiety, not simply because life is difficult, but because civilization entrains consciousness into unnatural information phase behavior. The hourglass accelerates and the self begins dissolving faster than it can reorganize. What if consciousness is not a thing, but a continuously reorganizing phase landscape? A fluid information geometry stabilized through liquid-liquid phase separation, fractal recursion, and symbolic reinforcement. Then subjective time is not fundamental physics. It is emergent cognitive topology, a language-induced attractor state, the Whorfian time warp. And this changes everything. Meditation begins making sense. Psychedelics begin making sense. Flow states begin making sense. These states disrupt rigid symbolic compartments and return consciousness to more fluid phase dynamics. The hourglass temporarily dissolves and awareness reconnects with continuous process instead of symbolic segmentation. Maybe time was never the sand. Maybe consciousness was always the glass, a fluid boundary shaping reality into temporary forms. And language is the hand turning the hourglass over and over again. Every sentence reorganizing perception, every symbol reshaping the geometry of awareness itself. The question is no longer what is time. The real question is, what kind of consciousness does your language force you to become? Maybe how we talk to each other and ourselves shape reality more than we are aware of. I hope you enjoyed this video and have a wonderful day.